You can do Nayania Baraya, Nayania Manania Manania.
From the New South Wales Aboriginal Land Council, this is the A Cuppa and a Yarn podcast.
Hello and welcome to A Cuppa and a Yarn from the New South Wales Aboriginal Land Council. I'm Michelle Aleksandrovics-Lovegrove, and as we head to ANZAC Day 2020, it's certainly going to be very different to how it's been in the past, and I'm having a yarn today with an Aboriginal veteran, David Williams. David, thanks for having a cuppa and a yarn today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be thought of, at least, by someone at least. Oh, it's an honour, really. Yes, we've got to, we've got to fight off this pandemic, and as a result of that, I think in a lot of cases it's going to open up a lot of doors, and hopefully those doors are bigger and stronger.
You're well known to myself, to a lot of people in New South Wales, but if you don't mind, if we can maybe just sort of start off the yarn today with just a little bit about you. Who's your mob?
My mob is, we're Malari Bundjalung mob. They're Bayugal, northwest of Grafton, about 100 k's. And I was born in South Grafton Hospital in 47. And, large family. And as today, like having from large families, I always say to young fellas, before you start taking that one out, you better talk to the old people. You'd probably end up your cousin or something. And it's so true. But it's just our system that we had. It's just brilliant. It's an absolute brilliant system, and that's why we've been around so long.
Yeah, exactly. So you were born in South Grafton Hospital. I've been reading a little bit about you online. There's a bit there when you made the decision to join the Navy. How did that happen? I read a story about you being up a ladder or something.
No. What happened was we're all young fellas, and the police boys were a major influence in my life. When I say influence, there's always something to do, whether it's gymnastics or summer boxing or something, And when I was down here in Sydney, it was Glebe Police Boys, or South Sydney first, and then Glebe Police Boys. But when I was up in Brisbane at Nan's place, it was Lang Park Police Boys. And, of course, you do all the stuff in that. And I had fun, and you get to know the police, and it was a positive move. But Nan didn't like me boxing, and neither did my mother for that matter, because a few of our relations were boxers, and from Jimmy Sharman's era and all that, and they didn't end up too well from that experience. And so I was allowed to wrestle, wasn't allowed to box. And unfortunately, I got caught because in the Courier Mail in Brisbane, they used to put those sports results for police boys in it, and my name came up. Well, I got boxed all right. That was the end of that effort. And I was under the Taylor boys up there, and But it's relevance to the Navy. I was working with Watson and Crane. I was playing rugby league in the Balmain Juniors with the Glebe Police Boys, and then we got graded up in the Jersey Flag and President's Cup, and then we started training for third grade, next season, and Trigger Out and all those fellas. But they got called up in national service, and I know I didn't have to go now. I didn't know then that if you're Aboriginal, you didn't have to go. But, no one tells you that, eh? Yeah, I thought, well, my mates are going, so I'll go and do my bit. But I'm going to walk around everywhere like the bloody army, because all my uncles and that, they all served, Well, 29 members of my extended family served for the country, from the light horse right through to present day. So, I thought I'll go and sail around. And because I used to work at the State Office building and AMP building in the waterproofing gang. I used to look down on the fleet, and I thought, what are them blokes doing? So that was what it was all about. And the fact that when I was a real little fellow, we used to go to the main pool in the harbour, and we'd be walking past the Bells Hotel, and them fellas, young sailors, would be cooeying out there. My mum used to say, don't you ever grow up like them fellas? No, Mum. What happened? I failed. But I can still remember the look on her face when I come home with my uniform on, because I got my aunties tying me up. And I could see all the worry drained out of her face.
Yeah.
Only mums love son.
That's right.
But no, it allowed me to go around the world and have a look at all this stuff and formulate my own opinions on who's bad and who's not.
I was having a little bit of a read of where you've served and what ships you were on, and then you joined the Australian Submarine Squadron as well. Is that right?
Yeah, well, what happened was I was at HMAS Penguin, which is at Balmoral, that's the Naval Hospital, and I had a footy injury, and I was there. And anyway, they had the 4th Submarine Squadron, which was English, and I got a drink with a few of the lads, and they called me in to go down on the boat and have a look, and you don't have to call them sir and all this stuff. And I said, this will do me. After I come back from Malaya and Borneo in the mid 60s, that's 65, 66, and then after that Vietnam, I went and did my submarine suitability at the Chifley Chambers. I think it's at up there in Wentworth Avenue. I think that's where it is, and I passed it all. But then on the newsreels at the cinema, they had race riots in Birmingham and Brixton in UK. And with my attitude towards the English, it wouldn't have been a very good career move at that stage. So I just deferred my transition to submarines till 1979. And I'm glad, because I went there as an old bloke. Otherwise I'd have been so one-eyed and tunnel-visioned. It's just a completely different world. And, it doesn't matter to us on the boats, whether it's wartime or peacetime. It's pretty much the same. It's just it's hard, Jack. I mean, you got to like that sort of. It's not for everyone, but I liked it. The job was pretty hard, but the camaraderie and mateship is second to none. Not many of us get put in a situation where blokes can absolutely detest you, but if you're in strife, he'll give you a hand, and that's what happened in boats. We just stick together.
This is a Cuppa and a Yarn from the New South Wales Aboriginal Land Council. I'm speaking with David Williams about being in defence, being in the Navy, the years since, the work that you've been doing to support Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander veterans as well, David. So, you've played quite a role in that over a number of years now, haven't you?
Oh, it's imperative, I'm very fortunate. I'm just black with curly hair, and I'm born this far south, so I can't hide. I feel for my brothers and sisters that aren't as well suntanned, and sometimes they balance on the fence or, just say nothing. I understand all of that. But not a lot of Australians, because of the educational system, get told the truth in as much as who did what and so forth. It's like just the basics, I remember when I was in primary school, Captain Cook found Australia. Excuse me, sir. Yes, Williams. I didn't know we were lost. Well, I can still feel the cane. So I needed to hear about our heroes, like at Pemulwuy over here, and then Gendamar on the West Australian coast. But no, I've got to learn about Cook, all these other fellows. I mean, that's no good to me. I brag about these blokes. And I just have a look at the whole of the history. Until they recognise us 100%, there'll always be a gap there in the system. So I'm very fortunate that I can see the goodness in a lot of things. I'm too old to hate all the time. It's just ridiculous. One thing that has remained constant, the only Aboriginal that I know that's got all those mobs on the one side is that fella called Pemulwuy. and I'm glad that I chaired the advisory committee in my local council to name the suburb after him. And all the high streets in that around Prospect Hill and that are all in Darug language. So, we've got a very proactive council here in the West until we were forced to amalgamate, so it's a different story.
With your understanding of how we basically help our young people to move forward, whether it's into, whatever job it happens to be, how can looking at the lessons of the past, of your years of service, people before you, people who are following, young people now who are looking at joining defence, etc., how can we learn from some of those lessons through that didn't help our people?
Well, the Defence Department, it's a pretty hard task they got to do because they've got a lot of people in the defence system that, I don't know where their logic comes from, but obviously they got more qualifications. But at the end of the day, you still need that hard yakka stuff, and we got too complacent. That's how I feel, too complacent. And we need to tighten it up. But the positive about all defence sides of things, you get taught skills, and that is invaluable. That is the top. And I still got colleagues and friends from all over the world, all because of the Australian Defence Department, and that's a positive. Trouble is with our young people, these days they're going away doing the tours of duty and that, and they're coming back home, and they're living in units and that all over the place. We lived on the barracks. The team was together all the time, It's like these people are finding out now about isolation, and they're ending up with domestic violence and all the other things. And it's not hard to put together. All my job is to do as an old father is to make sure that when I see these young people, I thank them and support them, and that's critical. Even our young people that aren't in defence, like I'm in juvenile justice a fair bit, and I see so much talent, but there's no supervision. That's all our responsibilities. That's Aboriginal people are always about family.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
They're mob unless you've got a quid. No one wants to know you.
You've spoken quite a bit generally and particularly in reference to Vietnam veterans, of a lack of recognition of Vietnam vets, and, I think more broadly of the contribution of Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people to defence over years. I mean, I think people see some of that changing, because we are being acknowledged, etc. But is it changing really, do you think?
Oh, yeah, look, the old World War II veterans, I remember when I came back as a young bloke, wasn't a real big one, was it? Oh, you can't come in here, you're not a returned man. Is that right, is it? I was a mouthy tap, so I'd say, I'm coming in, try and stop me, mate. And all this other stuff. I always end up in a debate over something. But us Vietnam era, we're the World War II blokes now. The Korean War blokes got it before us. As I said, bullets aren't dated or colour-coded. They just shoot you dead. Who gives the fishes what era it is? So you should get the respect that goes with it, whether you're peacekeeping forces and that. If you're over there defending policies for your country, you're past as far as I'm concerned. And it puts such a stigma on a lot of our veterans that, oh, yeah, mate, but I wasn't a return man. I said, I don't care, mate. I said, you had the uniform on just because my number came out of the hat and yours didn't. Who cares? You took the oath and that's it.
ANZAC Day 2020, David. It's going to be quite different this year, isn't it?
Yep. I'm lovely Mai Street, Maryland. So I'm going to have flags out the front. I've lost one flag that I don't know where. I must have got to lick it up somewhere and left it. But anyway, it's the boxing kangaroo, and I'm still looking for it. So that's going to be flying on a pole as well. I hope it does our fellows proud, because the little display I'm putting out the front of my place is all about the Indigenous personnel, and one of our, in reference to ANZAC, Private Billy Singh was the best shot in Gallipoli. You never hear about Billy Singh, all right? And he was doing his duties. The difference, the difference is one bloke was picking up the wounded and that, which is commendable, but the other bloke, the Turkeys, they had bets on the two snipers, and our bloke took Abdul the Terrible, which is Turkey's best sniper, out. So why didn't I have that information when I went to school? I heard about Ataturk and that, and he was a brilliant field general because he defied the government and kept the troops back. I can respect that. So I'll be in my front yard with my totter rum. I'll be having a nice little totter rum for all our veterans, specifically our brothers and sisters. And we put a lovely man to rest at Botany, and there was only 10 allowed at his funeral. He was in D Company in the Battle of Long Tan by the name of Victor Simons. That hurt. That really hurt. But next year, when it's all normal, we're going to have a memorial service for him.
Yeah, that's great.
And make sure that he gets sent off that he deserves. And that was the biggest battle in Vietnam. This man he's up there with the best of them. You know, a couple of his family members had to leave because we stood in the back outside, you know, well away. And me and a mate who's still serving, and at least the family saw us there, which was important. And I was pretty upset because he deserved better. You know, and it's not their fault. It's the system we're in.
David, for people who want to mark ANZAC Day, our communities, certainly, you know, around New South Wales, but around the country, you're doing that at your place, which is going to be great. What can people do? We can still commemorate. You
know, knowing our mob, and it's your house, the thing that draws all of us has always been a fire. So a bit of smoke or something, you know. Just, you know, obviously you can't do that in units and things like that. But yeah, just go back to something traditional so that it's something that if you're living in a unit, just hang the colours, the tricolours out the window there and put the camera, let that flutter all day, you know, the gold and red and the black handkerchiefs or something for that, just something like that. Some little visual gesture, all right? Because that's the way to go. I'm just going overboard because...
You're David Williams.
No, I'm just going overboard because the Defence Department allowed me to be stronger because I was treated as an equal, and then you come out and you treat, who are you? You know. Well, imagine all the colleagues of mine that went back to regional towns and that. And that's white fellas as well. And these guys are walking around floundering, all of us, and it's just difficult. The Department of Veteran Affairs tries to do the right thing, but a lot of the old staff that understood veterans, they've just got these new, you know, electronic operators now and they're doing the best they can, but they don't have the passion like the older ones that of yesteryear. And I'm not being nasty. It's just that, you know, that's how it was.
Well, David, this ANZAC Day, then you're going to be outside of your house.
I'm going to be in my front yard with a nice navy rum
at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I know. I'm running a bit late.
Are you really going to be out there at 5?
Yep.
Okay, and how long are you going to stay out there for?
All day.
All day, all right. So when I turn up at like 10 o'clock, you'll still be there?
I'll be there and I'll be really warm by 10.
No, I'll turn up before 10 for sure, but probably not 5.
My biggest worry is all those Darrow mates of mine throughout the neighbourhood and around the traps that, oh, God, who knows? You know, I might have to open up the school and they can all look from the fence across the road through the bars. I used to, you know, like for 3 years I helped with the Redfern one, but, you know, it's on ANZAC Day and you should be with your units on ANZAC Day, you know. It's not an Aboriginal thing, it's ANZAC Day. And, you know, I said, look, lads, you know, I can't, unless you change the date, which I wanted them to do, you know, I won't be coming down because I go to the dawn service, then the main march, and I'm with my unit, which is in this case submarines. And, you know, if I miss any of those, there's 3 or 4, maybe more, you know, the wives and that are deceased. You know, we're a tight outfit, and I can't be, you know, missing that. Yeah, but the one in May, that was mainly aimed at our students, and my goodness, we've had to not advertise it so much because I don't think we had the crowd control on a couple of occasions. No, it's so important. And, yeah, I was just hoping that a couple of times we could get one of the pre-recruitment classes that go through the defence system to attend so that the school kids can have a chat to them because they're just starting off. And they can say, well, he can do it, I can do it, you know, with all the memorabilia in there and soil collection from all over and a lot of other stuff that happens. It's just beautiful. Plus the best thing about that, you got the memorial down there on Elizabeth Street. Well, the best thing about that memorial it's a Queensland story. And that way none of our mob can fight. And I had nothing to do with picking that. I'm just letting these people know out there. But it's a Queensland yarn, and so no one can fight. It's excellent to have this representation. There's a lot of good comes from, troubled times.
Well, hopefully in this time in a year, we'll be able to commemorate ANZAC Day as we have been used to over the last number of years. Let's hope that's the case anyway.
What I'd like to see is our servicemen and women be appreciated more and to have the facilities where we can do that.